Today I'd like to share with you my easy 4-ingredient recipe for lard soap. Hey guys, it's Stephanie from the blog thefarmhousemom.com, and today we are going to be making an easy 4-ingredient lard soap. We will be using goat milk for the liquid. If you don't have access to goat milk, if you're not on a goat farm like me, you can just use water and it'll still be a great creamy soap. Let's go over our ingredients and let's start making some soap. I have what is left of my lard that I rendered from the pig that we bought last year. If you've seen that video, we're going to use castor oil to make it nice and lathery. We're going to use coconut oil for conditioning and hardness, and then we are going to use olive oil for some nice conditioning for the soap as well. There are two websites that I use to plug in my recipes to see what values they'll have, because sometimes you can make a soap and it's just so creamy it doesn't really set up. There's different types of properties you might be looking for different soaps. I generally will add different ingredients like shea butter and sweet almond oil, and those can make your soap really great. But you can also make a very simple soap with just a few ingredients that's really great for your skin. I will have all of the links available for the products that I use linked on my blog, thefarmhousemom.com, and I will also have them linked below. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I have a lot of my ingredients off screen just so it doesn't look super cluttered as we get started. We're gonna do an orange goat milk soap. Again, if you don't have oranges, if you don't have the essential oil, if you don't have goat milk, you can still make this soap. So I dehydrated some oranges last Christmas in my dehydrator. We are going to put these on top of the soap as a decoration. And I also am going to use up what's left of some essential oil that I have. I've got some lemon, grapefruit, and orange essential oil, and we are just going to use everything that's left in these bottles, and we're going to scent our soap with it. And I've been a little lackadaisical in the past about not using safety equipment in my other videos, but I do have some gloves. I just ran out to the feed room to get them, and then I have some safety goggles that we'll use when we're working with our lye. So let's go ahead and get started with mixing our lye. That's the first thing we'll do because we're going to want that to cool down a little bit because it gets really hot. We are making a 42-ounce soap. It's going to fit in this 42-ounce container, and then I'd like to get 10 bars out of it, and so it is just a little over 10 inches. And so when we pour it, hopefully we'll be able to put an orange slice in each bar. We'll see how well we gauge that. If you're using water and lye, what you're going to do is you're going to measure out your water, and then you're going to measure out your lye, and you're just going to pour the lye into the water. We are using goat milk, so what we're going to do is we are going to pour that lye over the frozen goat milk, and we're going to be stirring it until it dissipates. Let's go ahead and get our amount of lye ready. The unit of measurement that I'm using is ounces. I'm going to tare it out, and I need 4.51, let me look at my computer, 4.51 ounces of lye. There's two websites that I love to use. One is soapcalc.net and the other is thesage.com. And I will link those on my website too, so you can find the ones that I'm talking about. All right, so 4.51 ounces of lye. Ooh, these are really dirty. I probably should have cleaned them before I put them on. All right. All right, we've got 4.515. And now we want 12 ounces of frozen goat milk. We're going to go ahead and place this on. We're going to tare it out, and we're going to put our 12 ounces of frozen goat milk in. All right, that's right at 12 ounces. And I went ahead and placed that right back into the freezer because we're going to make some tallow soap next week. We're going to make some beef tallow soap. All right, so we are going to go ahead, put our glasses back on. And yes, I know I should have worn them in the other videos, but we're doing that now. I went ahead and got a bowl and put some ice in it, which I usually do, but it's been a few months since I've made soap, so I forgot to do that. So I'm hoping that my goat milk soap will not be scorched. I usually use solid frozen chunks, but it had thawed a little bit when it was in the sink. So you don't have to use frozen goat milk soap, but it just helps not scorch the milk. So hopefully this is not scorched. If it is, we will just do it again. Okay, so we are done stirring our lye and we have it at 113 degrees. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off my gloves. We don't want our milk to be scorched, but that seems to, it is a bright color, but it seems to smell okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and use it. Make sure that you tear out anytime you put a new container on here. So our liquid at room temperature ingredients are 12 ounces of olive oil. All right, and then we've got 2 ounces of castor oil. And so I've got 12 here and I'm just gonna squirt it in until it's 14. Now that we have our liquid at room temperature ingredients, we're gonna add our solid ingredients. Solid at room temperature, that is. So we've got 10 ounces of tallow and 8 ounces of coconut oil. And I'm peeking over here on my recipe. I'm gonna make sure I tear that out. All right, 8 ounces, and now we will do our pig lard. To melt my hard oils, I just picked up an old pan at the swap meet, and that's just what I use for my soaps. I'm gonna go ahead and dump in my 8 ounces here, tear it out, and all we need now is 10 ounces of lard. So let's go ahead and load that up. My hands are going to be super conditioned after sticking my hands in this big jar and getting them all greased up with pig lard. All right, let's see. I hope we have enough. This will be nice. I'll have this jar free. I usually use this for grains, and it's been sitting. Okay, perfect. 8 ounces. All right, let me get this out of the way. I'm just going to sit it over there on the counter, get my hands cleaned up, and then we'll head over to the stove and we'll melt our hard ingredients. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the burner. So let's go ahead and put our oils in and check the temperature. And then we'll add our olive oil and our castor oil. I'm going to go ahead and strain it just so there's no residue or any of my hair got in there or anything like that. We will be adding our essential oils after we get to trace. All right, so I said this is orange. I was going to use a little lemon, but I'm just going to use the orange and the grapefruit. So I will put my safety equipment back on. It is such a cold day here. It's like 25 degrees, and I have at least 5 girls that are due this week. So I am really hoping that it warms up because I don't want to be out helping babies be born in the 20-degree weather. So we'll see. Let's get our safety goggles on. We'll go ahead, pour the lye mixture in, and then we will start to blend. I'm going to burp it out so there's no bubbles. We're starting to get a light trace, so I'm going to go ahead and put my essential oils in, and a lot of times that will accelerate the trace up a little bit. So that is a nice trace. I can go ahead and take my gloves off because the lye is neutralized now. So we didn't do anything fancy for our soap. We are just doing one color. We're not mixing anything. So let's go ahead and pour it in. All right. We'll go ahead and tap our soap down. Maybe give it a pretty little swirl. We'll grab a small spoon. We'll go ahead and get our ruler. And I'm going to try to place the oranges in between each 1 inch area. Okay, we are done with the hard part, so we will come back tomorrow and cut the soap, see how it turned out. Okay, it is now the next day and we are going to unmold and cut our soap. I have a couple of soap cutters. This one is ridged and I'm going to use this to give it a little bit of interest since it's all one color. It's not, like I said, we didn't do anything fancy. And we are going to use this soap cutting guide, this wooden box. So let's go ahead and unmold and start cutting our soap. So here we have our finished product, our Lard soap with goat milk and orange essential oil. As you noticed when I was cutting it, my wavy soap cutter was not fitting inside the box, and so I went ahead and just cut everything by hand. It will give it more of a rustic cut, and so there'll be a couple bars that are bigger than the others, which is fine if you're giving this out for gifts or if you're just using it for your family. I would like to make a note, as I was pouring the soap, it was a little shy of the top of the container. And I had exactly 42 ounces of liquid and it wasn't quite coming to the top. While I was editing last night, I noticed I only put in 8 ounces of pig lard instead of the required 10. The reason this is important is the lye-oil ratio. You don't want your soap to have too much lye. That's called a lye-heavy soap. How you can usually tell is there will be big pockets of air. You can also do the zap test where you touch it to your tongue. I was also reading on some forums that the lye we get in the United States is not 100% lye. It's more of like a 91 to 95, 96%. So there's a little margin for error, and that refers to super fatting. You want your soap to have enough fat, but not so much fat that it goes rancid. That's a whole other topic and a whole other video. We did ours where it had a 5% super fat. About 5 to 8 is what you want. So judging by the appearance of the soap, I feel safe using this. The reason you don't want your soap to be lye heavy is lye is caustic and it can burn your skin. And so if you have so much lye in your recipe that it's not balanced by the amount of oils, that it's not taking up all of the acidity, then you're gonna have that acidity left over and it's gonna come out on your skin. It's gonna feel acidic and it's gonna burn. The remedy that I'm going to use just to be safe is I'm gonna give this probably 3 or 4 weeks of extra curing time. And then here in a month, I usually give my soaps 4 to 6 weeks to cure. So 4 to 6 weeks, I'll do the little zap test where I touch it to my tongue. And if it zaps you back, then that means there's too much lye and it's not safe to use. If you guys make this soap at home, please leave a comment and let me know how it turned out. Let me know maybe what you added to it to make it a nice soap for you and your family. Thank you guys so much.